Hey everybody, it's Russ the Unpaid Intern here at Afroworld Studios. It's Black History Month and this year we decided to do something a little different. Now, if you've ever visited our store in person, you've probably noticed our collection of oil paintings featuring prominent African American celebrities, icons, and historical figures. You may even know some of them were created by our father and other members of his guild. What you probably didn't know is that the ones on display are not the entire collection. In fact, though the number changes from time to time, our collection is one of the largest privately owned collections featuring notable Black people in America. To kick things off, today we'll take a look at our very own co-founder, Dr. Russ Little Sr. Born Russie Benjamin Little in 1936 in the small town of Kosciuszko, Mississippi, to parents Benjamin Little and Velma Funches Little, he was the oldest of three, eventually having younger sisters Mary and Laura. After the tragic loss of their mother at a young age, Russ's father Benjamin remarried, and his new bride Gertrude and the rest of the Little family set out for and eventually made their home in Detroit, Michigan. While attending Northern High School in Detroit, Russ explored his entrepreneurial leanings, first with a paper route, and eventually working for his uncle and later for a bakery in the predominantly Jewish suburb of Hamtramck. There he learned the art of bread making, but more importantly it was there that his passion for a high level of success and self-determination were forged. After high school, Russ continued to work for small businesses and eventually entered a trade school, where he studied electronics and learned to work on computers. Back at a time when computers were the size of large rooms in buildings, and not what can commonly be found on a desktop or even in your pocket today. During this time, Mr. Little met Thelma Porter, who would later become Thelma Little, and they would start a family with the arrival of their first child, Victor Dwayne Little. Though many of his friends and family members went in the direction of factory jobs that were so plentiful in Detroit during the late 50s and early 60s, Mr. Little had other aspirations. And as his family continued to grow with the arrival of Laurie and then later Sheila Little, Mr. Little realized that in order to continue his march towards true financial independence, he had to make a move that would change his life forever. As he is so fond of quoting, "If you want the things that others don't have, you have to be willing to do the things that others won't do." So, in the early 1960s, Mr. Little moved his family from Detroit, the place where he had called home for most of his life, to St. Louis, Missouri, after accepting a position with aerospace and defense contractor McDonnell Aircraft, who would later become McDonnell Douglas. The plan was to stay for the length of the contract and then possibly move back to Detroit. But with the arrival of their fourth and best-looking child, Russ Little Jr., and with the riots going on in Detroit directly related to the Civil Rights Movement, it was decided that the Little family of five would stay in St. Louis. And with the assassination of Martin Luther King, who Mr. Little was fortunate enough to march with in 1968, they knew that staying in St. Louis was the right decision. It is also the decision that resulted in Afroworld eventually becoming a St. Louis-based company and not a Michigan-based company. But I'm getting ahead of myself. After his time with McDonnell Douglas, Mr. Little worked for electronics giant RCA and then computer giant Sperry Univac. He had a great family life and the proverbial good job, but he still wanted more. Now, if you're familiar with the adage of taking lemons and making lemonade, you'll appreciate the fact that as a result of Mr. Little starting to lose his hair in his early 20s, and though he had always known he wanted to work for himself, it was the hair loss at an early age that gave him the incentive to start Russ's Modern Man Hair Replacement Center, which would eventually become Afroworld Hair Company and later Afroworld Hair and Fashions. From an idea that started along with his wife Thelma on the living room table of their home, which went on to grow into a multi-million-dollar entity, which at one time helped to build the businesses and supplied hair to literally thousands of primarily African-American hairstylists across the country, including all 50 states, Canada, and even Europe, Afroworld is a true American success story. And today, we salute its co-founder and our father, Dr. Russ Little Sr. We hope that you enjoyed this installment of Afroworld Presents Black History Month 2021, a look at our past. Please join us tomorrow as we feature another African American icon chosen from the art collection of Afroworld Hair and Fashions. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hello there, Afroworld Nation. It's Russ, the unpaid intern, and I'm excited to be with you today because I am going to introduce you to a brand new product that I like and I know you're going to love. But before I show you what it is, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a store talking to a cashier or maybe having to get help from an employee only to find that they didn't understand what you were saying and you couldn't understand what they were saying because everybody's wearing masks? Well, of course you have. We all have lately. There's a new product that has just become available and it's gonna make your life so much easier because let's face it, masks are gonna be here for a while. It's called the Breathe Easy Mask Accessory and I know you're gonna love it. Let me show you what it is. Okay, it's this right here, okay? And basically what this does is it goes on my face between my, underneath my mask, and it helps me to breathe easier while still allowing people to be fully protected. So here we go. This is one of our 3-layer masks. In fact, you've been hearing people talk a lot about the KN95s. This mask is every bit as good as that. I have a filter in here as well. I have 3 layers of protection. This is a great mask. Plus, it doesn't make me look like a welder when I'm walking around. All right, so I'm gonna take my Breathe Easy device, I'm gonna put it behind my mask, and then I'm just gonna put the mask on as normal. On my face and over my nose. Now, what you'll notice is that you can still hear what I'm saying, and the reason is because the mask is not directly against my mouth and nose. With the Breathe Easy appliance, you can carry on a conversation while still being fully protected and protecting those around you. The Breathe Easy accessory is supposed to sell for $19.95. We sell it for about half of that, and there are specials available on the website. If you'd like more information, please visit afroworld.com or call us at 314-389-5194. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later.